Okay, so today was a tough day, and I was trying really hard to have a positive attitude, which I think I mostly succeeded. I have a hard time not letting people in on people in on Saturday. Get there, realize Pony Club is going to be there. No, it wasn't even that. It was that there was a horse in the round pen. Well, I guess all these things came up. There's a horse in the round pen. Long story short, I realized Pony Club's going to be there. And I'm like, well, fuck, that's not on the calendar. I know because I checked the calendar last night. Wasn't very happy. And then I'm like, fuck, I was irritated because if I had known Pony Club was going to be there, I would have just let the horses had today off. And not tried to work through any of it because that's just the space that I'm in right now emotionally. But I wasn't going to go back. It's 8:30 in the morning. I wasn't going to go back all the way home for no reason and then come back again later. That's dumb. Which turned out to be a good thing because it was super busy today. So people kept rolling in. People got there at 9, but then more boarders started showing up around 10:30. The place was packed. A lot of the boarders, even people who don't normally come out, came out. We had, in addition to the Pony Club haul-ins, there was somebody with a haul-in and then giving some lessons, and then there was another group of a couple haul-ins and somebody giving some lessons, and then there was at least one or two other groups of haul-ins that were small, like 2 horses or whatever. There were 3 horse trailers. I don't know if they were all together. And then I think there was a couple others. So the place was there. It was a lot of people. That's the most people we've had there in quite a while. Of course, the Pony Club horses are out of fucking control. 2 people got bucked off. Somebody turned a little mini out, and the mini ran around crying its full head off for hours, like 3 hours. It never did stop. It only stopped when I caught it. And I just thought to myself, and you ride that. Not that they ride the mini, but the mini didn't really... Yeah. Point being is if that had been a horse, it still had all that worry inside of it. It just stopped acting out as soon as the person put a halter on it, and it couldn't do anything anymore. So it was just a stressful morning, and I was like, I made a quick decision. And this turned out to be wise. I was like, I just have this bad feeling that if I wait for this girl to get done in the round pen and then head out here, Pony Club is all gonna show up right about the time I get to the round pen. Their horses are gonna be all spun up and it's gonna be a disaster. That's pretty much what would have happened if I had gotten Zoe out. So Zoe didn't have to deal with all that drama, but I thought, okay, Wyatt's not so bad. Wyatt is not as worried about this anymore, so I'll get Wyatt out. And I needed to get something done. I couldn't just sit there. So I get Wyatt out, and Wyatt would have been okay, except that Mike chooses that as the moment to get Poncho out. So Poncho comes out, Iceman falls the fuck apart. Wyatt was actually okay at first, and then it was just like he just built and built and built and built. And then it was like all the things all of a sudden. Poncho, the other horses, and then finally, and he was like, he's just, the moment he decides to rear, you're in trouble because rearing alone is enough to bring out that feeling in him. It makes him have more bad feelings. So it escalated and probably took 45 minutes to get him to calm down, maybe longer. And keep in mind, in that time, Poncho actually got put away. Poncho was no longer out. And it was no longer even about Poncho. It was just that he had gotten so high up that he couldn't come back down. And then he was really worried about this little toddler that was toddling around. He does not like the toddler. Not that it's the toddler's fault. The toddler's just there. Just Wyatt happens to be afraid of it. So that was a thing. It was a drama. But the part that I want to choose to focus on is that he hasn't actually done something like that in a while, although he was actually pretty upset yesterday too, so this could have been a little bit of a carry-on. I say that, and actually I feel like this has been brewing for like a week or two, because there was some stuff that happened previously. I'm like, oh, okay. And we know with him, sometimes it's got to get big to get to the bottom, so I finally did get him to just kind of come through it, calm down, hit his own internal off switch, through a lot of coaxing. Left the round pen, took him for a walk, mostly because I needed to, because there was someone in there. They needed to use the round pen. It was fair. They'd been waiting for like 20 minutes. Well, they've been doing other stuff. It's not like she had been sitting there twiddling her thumbs. She had good timing, though. So she used the round pen. Then when she was done, I went back in there for like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, he just needs to literally just let out a deep breath. So I was able to turn him loose. And then he was like, oh, I'm gonna follow you all around, and kind of a little starry-eyed, and like he'd really come through it to the other side where he just really let down. I took him, and I actually took him, well, I didn't want to go to the cross ties because there was a horse over there that I was like, I do not want a piece of that. So, which, if you can tell, that was a lot of this story. And you know what? I gotta come back to what I was just thinking. So I took him back, and then I ended up brushing him for like 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. It seemed like 15 minutes. I just took him out from the other horses. I ground tied him underneath a tree, and he just stood there, and I brushed him, and he really likes his mane combed, which is super weird, but he does. And that really calmed him down. And I brushed his mane, he calmed down. I brushed his tail. And that was like a nice moment between him and me. And so I have to say, as upsetting as the 45 to 50 minute thing was, I felt like the stuff on the other side was really nice. He went back, and actually, instead of eating lunch, he like ate a little bit. But actually what he did was he went and took a nap with the other horses, and he just stood there for like an hour or two, napping. I mean, clearly whatever that was, it meant something to him. And then when I went back to his stall, and he had just like the nicest energy. So hopefully that carries over into tomorrow. Zoe was great today. I didn't get to do very much with her. So, I just took her for a walk, basically, and it was a very small walk, and we walked over some objects and stuff that I found, and just working on getting her to let go of thinking about the other horses, because that's really the challenge for her, is she can get so lost in the other horses, and then she kind of wants to go play with them. So that's something that's going to be, I think, a challenge with her, and I just couldn't, just because of how the other horses were acting. I mean, there were so many horses. 2 different kids got bucked off. There was the mini running around. There was another horse that comes out there all the time. He's never quiet, and he was running around in the pen next to the round pen. The mini was right by the round pen too. That big bay horse, he must have rolled 10 times. He was so anxious. He was anxiety rolling. So I didn't want to get into any of that, because it just wouldn't have, and I literally was like, well, I could kind of wait it out. And then finally I was like, no, I'm not going to wait it out, which is a good thing, because I left it too, and there's still people crawling all over that place acting crazy. So, plus it worked out good for Jess, because she got to get her horse out. So she was able to use the round pen that way without waiting. Man, it was just a tough day to watch. Again, Zoe was really good. I didn't really challenge her purposefully so. I was like, if you're having a hard time letting it go of your thought, like right here, we shouldn't go any further than how much, don't go any further than the last good step. You got to go further at some point, or you'll never get that next good step. But little baby pieces. And I think something that I was just thinking about was watching. See, I think that Pony Club bothers me a lot, and therefore that's part of why it bothers the horses. And it probably bothers me more because I see so much bad shit happening. One of those horses was like, there were so many. It wasn't like it was just one. So many spun up horses. This one horse is just like trotting around the arena with its head inverted, screaming. You're like, how is that even fun? It doesn't look like, never mind the fact that it's dangerous, it's not fun. And then, you know, those kids aren't even getting taught to recognize any of that. It's just a bad deal. And I think part of the thing with the horses is that I don't want to deal with the drama. So of course I do things like take Wyatt and tie him underneath a tree and brush him, because I don't want to deal with the fucking drama. Let alone if my horse needs to. It's me. I'm the one who doesn't like the drama. They might not like it either, but I really, really don't like it. And I think too, just having watched a lot of people just go get on horses, it looked like they were going to have a total meltdown. Or then they turn the horse loose and the horse does have a total meltdown, and you're like, and you were riding that. Or you were about to ride that. Why? Why do that to yourself? Why do it to your horse? As I think I was lost in a lot of thoughts today about having both feet in, or 1 foot in, 1 foot out of, you know, this sort of new school of horsemanship that we're in. And I think that I have both feet in, and that's meant letting go of a lot of stuff, expectations, ideas. Somebody basically today was like, you're not doing enough with your horse, and she's like, I know you work with her a lot, I know you do a lot with their minds, but you're not doing enough of these other things. And I thought to myself, then I started making a list of like all the shit that I've done with that horse just in the last week. Okay, she ties, she loads, she leads both ways. She's getting better off of the right. Today was the first day I've been able, or off of her right, my left. Today's the first day I've been able to lead her from that side out of the brown pin and have it go well. So that's new. She just started loping in the round pin. That's a half a lap, but still, you know, she's learned a lot of stuff. I don't want to drive her around in that pin because, one, I don't want to drive her around, and two, she's growing. She's learning how to get her feet done. I work on that a little bit every day. I ring roped her for the first time yesterday. I've had saddle pads on her. I've had the bareback pad on her. I had my sweatshirt on her the other day. I played walking over things game today. I've taught her about the flag. That horse, now granted, her understanding is incomplete, but she's got so many little things that she's learned. Oh, I picked up her feet with the rope the other day. I've done that a couple times now. I've taught her all these little things that are going to build to something so much bigger in the long run. Yield all 4 quarters, which she did not know how. She didn't have the first fucking clue of any of that 2 months ago. So I was just starting to think about all the list of things that little horse does that a lot of people's horses still don't do. And, you know, she has a lot of places, like she needs to work on her smoothness. She needs to work on coming through better. She has a tendency to kind of want to like start and stop. She needs to work on a lot of stuff, but shit, it's not like I haven't taught her anything. I just haven't been jumping into the ocean with her because, for a couple weeks there, it was because she is kind of wanting to go after me, unfortunately. She's kind of not doing that anymore, so I think on a quiet day she can start going for a walk again. But, you know, all those things that I've been doing are part of why she got from a point where she was sneaking up behind me trying to bite me to where she hasn't offered to do that in a while. And throwing her, you know, you could look at Pony Club today as an opportunity to go teach that horse something, but I don't think it'd go very well. I think it'd be really hard for her to get through it. So it'd be better to keep her just getting her toes wet and have her get through it than shoving her so far into the pool that she can't swim.